Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, I am absolutely thrilled to be taking you on a journey. We're going on an immersive, on-the-ground reporting trip into a reality that honestly feels like it was ripped straight out of a sci-fi movie, except it's happening right now. We're putting on our tech reporter hats to explore the rapidly transforming landscape of futuristic cities over in China. We're going to look directly at the data, peek inside the factories, and literally walk the everyday streets to understand this massive technological revolution that is quietly unfolding right under our noses. So grab your digital passports because we are heading straight into the future.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this staggering contrast right here perfectly captures the entire core of our explainer today. While traditional global powers are completely distracted by geopolitical conflicts and wars, behind the scenes, and far away from the daily political noise, China is quietly but very aggressively rewriting the blueprint of tomorrow. We're going to look at exactly how they are pulling this off, step by step, city by city, because they are completely shifting from being known merely as a hub for cheap manufacturing to becoming an absolute global powerhouse for artificial intelligence and innovation.
Section 1. Shenzhen, Silicon Valley of the East. To really understand Shenzhen's meteoric rise from a tiny fishing village to the undisputed epicenter of AI and green tech, you just have to look at the timeline of the EV giant BYD. It tells the whole story. It's a micro-narrative that perfectly mirrors the macro-narrative of the entire country. Think about this. Back in 1995, BYD was this tiny little operation running out of a small apartment, just selling batteries. By 2003, they boldly entered the auto market and faced massive media mockery. Major Western tech CEOs literally laughed out loud at their cars. But fast forward to 2024, they sold well over 1 million cars, blasting right past giant competitors like Tesla. And as we roll into 2025, they aren't just competing, they are aiming for complete global EV dominance.
The number one. It sounds so simple, right? But that single digit represents something almost unimaginable when it comes to centralized manufacturing scale. At their massive facility in Shenzhen, BYD is producing exactly one electric vehicle every single minute. That adds up to 1,400 cars rolling off the assembly line every single day. And you have to keep in mind, they're building almost everything in-house, which creates this incredibly self-sufficient and lightning-fast supply chain.
And this brilliantly illustrates why they are dominating. Because it's not just about speed, it's the hardware innovations. They developed this famous Blade battery, which is a highly safe lithium iron phosphate design that sits securely under the car. They've also totally cracked ultra-fast charging, giving you a 400-kilometer range with just a 5-minute charge. 5 minutes. The cars feature autonomous self-parking, so you can literally just step out and let the car do the work. And, okay, my personal favorite, a 30-minute water flotation emergency mode. Yes, you heard that right. If you get caught in a severe flood, the car temporarily turns into a boat. Just, maybe don't try driving it into the ocean on your next weekend trip. Let's look at how all of this tech actually transforms the everyday environment. Instead of normal gas-powered cars, human delivery couriers, and pulling out a credit card, the reality on the ground in Shenzhen right now is just entirely different. The streets are basically a sea of green license plates, which are mandated for EVs, making gas cars feel totally out of place. Deliveries are being handled by AI drones, and you don't even need a card to buy something anymore. You can simply scan the palm of your hand to pay. It's wild. Take the drone delivery, for example. The entire process is completely frictionless. Say you want a morning coffee. You don't even interact with a human. Step 1, you just place your order through the WeChat app. Step 2, an automated AI drone is deployed from the sky, carrying your coffee. Step 3, it drops your order at a designated automated kiosk or city hub. It's this incredible sensory experience, just grabbing your morning brew from a flying robot. But the robots aren't just up in the sky. Walking the streets of Shenzhen truly feels like stepping onto the set of a sci-fi movie. You can hail a driverless autonomous taxi right from your phone. You get in, and the steering wheel just turns by itself. And as the source jokingly points out, hey, if you get a traffic ticket, there's literally no human driver to blame. Then, when you get back to your hotel, do not expect room service from a person. A delivery robot will seamlessly navigate the hallways, call the elevator, ride it up, and bring the food right to your door. Section 2. Hangzhou, Dawn of Humanoid Workers. Now, let's transition our narrative away from Shenzhen and travel over to Hangzhou. This is a city that beautifully blends ancient UNESCO-recognized heritage with the absolute cutting edge of tomorrow. Because here, at the headquarters of Unitree Robotics, we are witnessing the dawn of humanoid workers. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the most shocking specification for the Unitree G1 humanoid robot. The price. It's $16,000. It stands about 1.27 meters tall, weighs a lightweight 35 kilograms, and runs for 2 hours on a charge. But that shocking accessibility of $16,000, that completely changes the game for who can actually afford to integrate robotics into their daily operations.
And they aren't just building these things as fun little novelties. They are competing globally. They are directly taking on American robotics giants like Boston Dynamics. These robots are unboxing ready right out of the crates. They're already being scooped up by tech companies, universities, and even internet influencers who are buying them to test out as personal assistants.
Section 3. Shanghai to Shandong, the Uncanny Valley.
To see just how far down the rabbit hole this goes, our source takes us on a maglev train ride, reaching speeds of over 400 kilometers per hour, by the way, traveling from the financial heartbeat of Shanghai straight into Shandong province to the X-Robots factory. Here, they are taking automation and wrapping it in an incredibly eerie, lifelike package. They are crafting silicone-skinned humanoid robots that the creators claim are 98% indistinguishable from real humans. Seriously, walking the factory floor, you see robotic faces, limbs, and torsos being assembled to create an absolute army of automated workers that can mimic human facial expressions and gestures. So you might be wondering, why go through the trouble of making them look so human? Well, it's all about how they're going to integrate into our daily social interactions. The future roles for these humanoid robots are vastly different from the clunky machines we used to see in the past. They're being programmed to act as educational assistants, to help with healthcare and hospital operations, to guide tourists through smart villages, and ultimately to replace complex manual labor. And the ambition here is incredibly serious. According to the team at X-Robots, in the future, they hope to have robots in hospitals and operations. This isn't just about replacing factory workers on an assembly line anymore. We are looking at a future where AI-driven humanoids will stand beside, or eventually completely replace, highly skilled medical staff to perform operations and manage critical hospital care. Section 4. A quiet global shift. Reordering the future. When you finally zoom out from all this incredible on-the-ground reporting, from the EV factories churning out a car a minute, to the skies filled with delivery drones, to factories assembling lifelike medical assistants, you really start to realize the sheer magnitude of what's happening. So the crucial point is, the outdated perception of China as simply a hub for cheap manufacturing is completely dead. Through intense centralized planning, they have driven massive industrial scaling. They are now a global powerhouse for ideas, artificial intelligence, and futuristic infrastructure, and they are rapidly scaling these technologies for massive global market expansion. Which brings us to a final, incredibly powerful question posed by our source material. Historically, Britain once ruled the world, right? But after exhausting itself in world wars, it quietly stepped back from the global stage. As traditional powers today exhaust their own resources fighting global conflicts, is the US quietly stepping down from the global stage while China builds the future? I really want you to think about that as you process everything we've explored today. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.